Welcome back to your destination for tech information. You're tuned into tomorrow. I'm Dave Graveline as we cruise the high-tech airwaves on 166 AM and FM radio stations all around the U.S., on stations in Canada, online, on many other sources, on the air every week as we bring you further into tomorrow. Is Groupon dead? Our next guest is here to talk about Groupon's future now that Google and Facebook, among others, have entered the online daily deal business. He is the CEO of EverSpark Interactive, Jason Hennessey. Jason, welcome into tomorrow. How you doing?
Hey, Dave. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. First of all, I think for our listeners who aren't aware of Groupon or maybe similar services, tell us what it is, what it's all about. What do they do?
Sure. So a lot of people might have heard the story that Groupon was recently approached by Google not that long ago, and Google wanted to buy them out for about $6 billion, and Groupon decided to say no to that offer.
Are they nuts? What a nice vacation that would have purchased, right?
That is the buzz.
Wow.
But essentially, for those that might have not heard of Groupon, it is essentially just a discount. It's a group discount platform where they get a lot of people to participate within the same discount, and then ultimately the consumers win. So
it's kind of group coupons, thus Groupon, I guess.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, then, is it? First of all, are they an organization that can be trusted? I know that my producers bought a couple of things from Groupon. The problem is, I know one thing he bought well over a year ago, he still never used. And I thought, well, what's the sense of a good deal if you don't take advantage of it?
That's the thing, you know, like when they first started to come out, I live in Atlanta, and I've seen a lot of things like scuba diving and, you know, things that were like luxury kind of items initially, and then they started to get more mainstream.
Yeah.
But you're right, you know, people like deals. There's a reason why coupons are very popular even still today. But I think realistically, I think that they could have signed their own death wish, and now that Google and Facebook are going to start to get into the same space now.
And of course, at that point, to turn down $6 billion, they had to have, one would think, an idea that they're going to survive even the big boys' attempt to take over, let alone the fact that now they're going to do it. So do you really think that maybe they're just going to be history at some point?
Yeah, I think realistically, you've got to realize that, you know, for those that may have never participated in Groupon, there's three steps that are involved. The first step is you have to hear about Groupon first of all.
Yeah.
Once you hear about Groupon, you have to go and you have to opt in. You have to give them your information, your email. And then you're going to have to check your email on a daily basis. So that's the second step. And then the third step is hope that the offer is relevant to what you're interested in.
And of course, these offers, I'm assuming, are only available on that day. Like, here's today's Groupon offer, or do they?
That's exactly right.
Like,
okay. You know, a haircut that's 20 miles away from me. You know, where I save $10. You know, that's a realistic Groupon offer that I saw recently.
Yeah.
But the difference now, as there's Google and then there's Facebook that's going to be getting into this game here, and I wouldn't be surprised if Twitter and Bing kind of join forces here. But I think there's going to be a big shift now, and Groupon is eventually going to be the person responsible for the idea, but ultimately the one that suffers the most consequences because they're playing with the big boys now.
It's funny you mentioned Bing, and I'm guessing Yahoo, others might also be in a position for that matter. How about Foursquare? Because people are checking in various places, and
absolutely,
wouldn't that be another collective audience to say, well, here's a daily coupon, so now go visit this pizzeria and it's 50% off or something if you show them the coupon, if you will, the digital coupon on your phone or something. Do you see that sort of thing happening? Folks checking in various places and then taking advantage, as they can now in many cases, of a deal?
Absolutely, Dave, and everybody knows that you're a futurist, and so am I. And I think if we fast forward to maybe 2 to 3 years from now, I don't think people are going to do things without a Groupon.
Exactly.
Ultimately, the consumer wins with this, really.
I would hope so, because I guess now at the end of the day, and here's where your take on this comes in too, is more competition for online daily industry kinds of coupons and deals and whatnot a good thing or a bad thing in the long run for us consumers, that we don't really care what it does to the folks offering them as long as it benefits us?
I think so. I think realistically how I envision, I'll talk about Google first. So,
okay.
Realistically, how I envision Google actively bringing this out into the forefront is they're going to blend it with their places. Most recently, Google's really started to evolve their geo-targeted search queries. So if you go online and you do a search for pizza, back in the day, a couple of years ago, you'd find Pizza Hut and Domino's and all the major, chains that would show up just because they're powerful websites.
Yeah.
Now, if you do that same search, it's very geo-targeted, and you find pizzerias that are within a 5-mile radius of your home. So now if you start to put into this Groupon approach, this discount approach, what I envision is now what Google's going to start to monetize that with this new business model, this group discount business model, and I have a strong feeling that they're going to make small business owners, they're going to force them to have to participate now if they want to compete. Because if I'm doing a search for pizza, I'm gonna do the search is going to be A, B, C, D, and E listing of all the pizzerias that are within my area. Yeah. And now what's going to be triggering it is who's got the best deal.
Yeah,
say
that's
$5
true.
off for 2 pot.
Yeah, who's offering me one of these digital coupons, for example? Now, but is it going to drive these little mom and pop businesses crazy? I mean, how do you keep track of all this? It's like, oh yeah, sure, we do, Foursquare, but oh my God, now there's 5 or 6 other companies want to do it.
People are going to get overwhelmed.
Yeah. I mean, from a business standpoint, maybe a larger company can accept it somehow, put it in their system, and then everybody just puts in the code and fine, it's easily accepted. But in the case of a recent scenario where Rob and I were at lunch and got this free appetizer, we showed the phone to the waitress, who says, I have no idea what that is. And she just took his phone and disappeared for several minutes with it. But she comes running back and she says, the manager said, sure, he's just going to punch that code in and you won't get charged. And we enjoyed nachos or whatever the heck it was. But the fact is, like, these businesses really have to get the big picture as well.
That's exactly right. Now, if you look at it now, you've got Facebook too, and I think Facebook is going to come out ahead in this. And the reason why I say so is because Facebook, they know even more about you than Google does, right? And that's because you actively engage in this. And I think realistically, when you compare even Groupon to Facebook, you look at your senior community, and they might not have heard of Groupon. However, everybody's heard of Facebook. It's just it's so well branded, right?
Everybody's on it, so
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
My grandmother, who's 80 years old, has a Facebook account. Wow. So I think realistically now, because they know everything about you and they know the times that you're on and where you live and your favorite types of food, what's going to happen is they're going to bring that. See, Google requires a search. You have to be searching for pizza to get the pizza ads, right?
Yeah.
The coupons and the discounts. Whereas Facebook, they're going to bring that to the forefront when you're online at certain times. So at 5 o'clock at night, they know that I like Italian food and they know that I live in this area. So they're going to bring out those Groupon deals to me in my peripheral vision and bring it to the forefront.
I'm loving it. Well, you guys, of course, very actively involved in helping companies do better with search engines. You've got to check out EverSparkInteractive.com. They'll help you as a business especially get up higher in those search results. Jason, a pleasure chatting with you. We got to do it again. There's more than just this issue, no doubt, that you can talk about and help the rest of us learn from.
I would be delighted, Dave. Thank you so much for having me again.